They are very pretty, aren't they? Make
Look,
sure
it's
they
got
get
pink.
thoroughly covered. Yeah, make sure they get thoroughly covered with the towel. I love to garden. I love to eat food from my garden, but it's not always body friendly for me. So I have to be very careful to have supplies on hand, protective gear on hand, tissue on hand, so that I can do my best to get in and get out while the circumstances are good, so that I'm the least irritated. If I'm going to go in the house, I do have to shower if I'm going to stay in the house. And but this is what it looks like, all the crazy wild. This time of year I have to go through and do a lot of pruning. Just kind of be mindful that things aren't getting out of control, which they have. They've got out of control. But we can get it back in control. I'll go get my cutters. So for me, pollen, asthma, all these things are exacerbated by heat. A lot of times there are trees that will release their seeds that will float around in the air when it's very, very hot. And so my solution to that is that when I have a day where I need to be able to work outside for a long period of time, hi Katie, what I will do is I'll get up as soon as it's light enough for me to work. I will work until it starts to warm up, which is when usually the pollen starts to come out. And then I will go inside, I will shower, and I will be done for the day outside. I have long sleeve shirt on, I have glasses on, I have pants on, I have boots on, and then I have gloves. One of the other reasons I need to be up and moving quickly and early is because wearing this many layers, I've got a long shirt on underneath and a sweater here, again jeans and boots, is because I'm going to overheat here pretty quick if I don't get moving. On a normal summer day, this week we're in the high 80s. Next week we're in the mid to high 90s. And so, in order to wear my protective gear, I've got to be moving in the morning. Another big no-no on an allergy-filled day is the animals. I have to make sure not to touch the animals. I have to make sure not to get scratched by the animals. And so, rather than having the cats come and keep trying to climb up my leg and keep bothering me while I'm trying to work, I've just fed them before I start. And again, I'm being very mindful that I don't handle them. On a low allergy day, it's not such a big deal. I can handle the animals. But again, if I was to go out and milk this morning, I would make sure to keep my long sleeves on. And I can't use gloves to milk, but I can wash my hands again very quickly after I milk and make sure not to touch my face. I have new plants in here that need to be freed from these permaculture plants. I have grapes, mulberries, raspberries, asparagus that all need to be rescued. All right, these are my two favorite tools. One is more of like a scissor hedge trimmer. The other one is a set of loppers. I will need the loppers for the stems. I will need the trimmers to get some of the soft foliage back as far as I can. I'm using these long-handled tools so that I'm not having to brush up against things that would be irritants. At the base of each one of those stakes is a mulberry, and those are the only perennial fruiting things I have back there. So I know that I'm safe to cut all of this back without worrying that I'm going to hurt my mulberries, because I have them marked. So I start at the top and cut about 6 inches, and then I cut 6 inches, and then I cut 6 inches. The reason for this is that if I cut it all off at the bottom, I have to touch it again. It's not in small enough pieces to break down and act as mulch if you cut it at the bottom. And if you cut it at the bottom, it's going to fall on your head when you try to get in there to cut it at the bottom, it's going to go whoop and fall right on your head and you'll get in contact with it. So I start at the top, I go doop, 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 kind of like they do when they cut trees down. They don't, especially if it's next to a house, they don't just cut it off at the bottom. They go to the top, they take it down piecemeal so that it doesn't damage anything. In this case, it's your allergies that they would damage if they fell on you. A lot of your green manure, living mulch type plants, if you don't cut them down, they just lay down and then they don't grow any more mulch. So it doesn't hurt these plants at all to be taken down, especially the comfrey. It'll just come back up. But if I don't cut it down, it'll get taller than me and then it'll lay down and then there's no more mulch. While I am working, I have my handy dandy little laundry basket that I will put weeds into that the pigs would be interested in. For the rabbits, we pretty much just take things out of the hotbeds because they're not contaminated in any way with any kind of fecal matter. But for the pigs, they love anything that grew in dirt. So I'm just going to fill this up as I go. The bugs are starting to come out. Anytime you're in wet, moist foliage, as soon as the sun comes up, you're going to have clouds of bugs. I've got clouds of bugs. I am sensitive to insect bites. My skin really overreacts to them. And for me, it can take months for an insect bite to heal. So now that I see bugs, I need to finish this very, very quickly and move on to something else in a more arid space. All right, that's what it looks like now. I haven't taken it down to the very bottom, down to the ground. I have just cut it so that I can see other weeds that are a problem for my plants, and so anything that is a new plant has just enough sunlight and ground cover now to make it. These weeds I need to come and pull because the pigs will eat them, and then I need to cover my individual plants so that somebody doesn't accidentally step on them now that I'm taking most of the cage off. Big trees that the ducks can't walk on, their leaves are fine. And I've got 3 of those in here that are big, an apple, a walnut, and a little leaf linden. Those are fine. They're tall enough the ducks can't walk on them. The raspberries and the mulberry and the fig, these squares are small enough that the ducks can't get their beaks through, so I have to do the weeding. But in return, the ducks can't get their beaks through and actually root the plant up or damage the plant. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully that was helpful for those of you who have like eczema or psoriasis or just really severe allergies of any kind. Hopefully that helps, gives you some information about how to do your gardening without having a flare-up. And I am free and clear today. I didn't get bit and I didn't touch any of the plants that usually give me really bad rashes, and everything looks way better. So a lot of the tools that are special tools I have in my Amazon store. I think there's a link somewhere, like I think I have my Amazon store in the link in the description, but if I don't, I have it on my channel page somewhere so that you can find the magic squares. They cost about $1 per square, and the ones that I like are 14 inches square, and I don't buy them in less than a box of 90 because I go through them so quickly. I also have plans for the hotbed greenhouse, the self-heating greenhouse, and all of that really helps our channel. Magic squares do not come cheap. I never have enough, so you know, if you buy the plans, I can go get some more magic squares. And we'll talk to you later. Alright, there's our basket of weeds and our hungry pigs. See if I can do this without making a mess. Hi, Mama Pig.